Ding, 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 gather around. What is up, my friends? Welcome to the Crypto Junkie stream. Today, welcome. Today we are going to cover the sovereignty financial stack. I don't remember actually what I called it, something like that. Sovereignty network financial stack. So we're going to talk about that, but let me share my screen. We're going to talk about some other stuff as well. So we're going to get started. Yes, sir. Okay. So I was going to do this last week, but the audio splitter on my computer stopped working, and then I magically got it to work. So let's get this to focus up here. Right, there you are. Okay. What is up, my friends? Welcome to the stream. It's going to keep doing this or what? Come on, camera. Come on, guys. Come on. There you go. All right, so I wanted to kind of make the rounds in the regular stuff, and then we'll get into the goodies, right? How are you guys doing? A lot of you jumping over from Kinetic Stream, from Wake Up Hex. Welcome to the party. All right, so we got this guy set up. Finbear, what's up? Crypto Gains Club 369, what's up? Enoch, what's up? All right. You guys ready to get started? All right, let's dive into it. Inflation, I think numbers just came out. I don't know. I just woke up like 30 minutes ago, so still kind of trying to wake up and get the motors running. So bear with me here if I'm a little bit slow. It is like midnight my time, which is usually when I do these streams. It's usually midnight. That's part of my commitment to you guys is, I sacrifice sleep to get on stream with you. And that's like the least I can do, I guess, is the way I see it. So I stream as much as I possibly can with my schedule. I'm not really huge into streaming, but, I recognize my place and I realize, the value that I bring to the community. So anyway, let's get started. Godfather Jr., yo, what's up? Terrafin, what's up? Oh shit. All right, let me get Wales. Let me get you a link here, brother. I'll get you that in just a second. Where is the link? There it is. Okay, let's dive into it. Let's get started. Boys and girls. Inflation. So U.S. is 7.9. Russia is 9.2. Let's take a look here through my Twitter feed. See what else I might have missed while I was sleeping. We've got quite a bit of news lately. So we had the Zoltan Basel III mention, right? That things are going to change. Where is that? Do I have that? I don't think I have that up. Basically, the summary of that was that the U.S. dollar fiat is going to be very bad. China's going to come out ahead because they have really no choice with the deals that they've worked out now with Russia being literally blocked out from the world now for no reason. The Russian people. And what else? That there's going to need to be a new commodities basket that backs fiat. And what's interesting is that we had Basel changes happen before that, kind of loosened the guidelines around gold. But I think what's about to happen again is we're going to see that same sort of loosening. It's going to be very quick, though, for cryptocurrencies because they really have no choice, Bitcoin specifically. They really have no choice but to allow Bitcoin to exist. Like, it's just kind of funny, like a couple takes on it. That I've noticed in my feed is that they've gone through the executive order. So essentially, Biden came out with an executive order. This was released early. This is actually the web archive of Janet Yellen's, I guess, press release that came out a day too early, and then they deleted it, and then it came out again early after that. I'm pretty sure they changed this around just a tad. But here's their position on it: is it represents risk. Stability risks to the financial system, okay? Digital assets do as a whole, but more specifically Bitcoin does. They're going to allow it to exist because they have no fucking choice. They don't like it. This isn't about respect. I don't know why everyone's like, oh, yay, this is a watershed moment. This is a good thing. Like, they don't care. They don't care about crypto. They don't care about you. They had no choice, so they did it. That's really all there is to it. And this Ponzi is better than their Ponzi. So that's really why it exists. What was interesting, though, is going into this, there was all this leaking of like the EPA getting involved. And I thought, fuck, man, maybe they're going to try and play some kind of, they're going to lock it down with a meter kind of angle, and they're going to play the carbon credit game. That's not the case. We have the FSOC, or the Financial Stability Oversight Council. The CFTC will probably get involved. FDIC will get involved because they have to, and that's it. So I think it's going to be interesting, because if it does become some sort of store of value, and banks hold this, central banks hold this as a piece of the balance sheet that they can then draw against, I don't know how they'll make the ratio, like, how much gold they have to hold to be able to draw off of, how much Bitcoin they'd be able to hold to draw off of. I think in the short term, it'll probably lead to positive price appreciation because of basic laws of supply and demand. Longer term, it'll probably be a problem, but I think upfront, yeah. Hey, what's up? Okay, let me add you to add moderator. Okay, what's up? And then yeah, hold on. I'll bring you on in just a sec, Wales. I got to put my headphones on. Yeah, so anyway, Wales and I actually did a stream the other day. We talked about this, the Zoltan piece. Maybe, I don't know. I don't feel like that was like the best way I wrapped up that whole thing. But anyway, yeah, that's where it's at. Dollar's going to do bad. Inflation's going to get worse. China's going to come out, US dollar's going to do bad. China's going to come out ahead, and they're going to have to come up with some new sort of commodity basket. Zoltan is basically like an OG in the economist space. He's been pretty spot on. He actually nailed the repo crisis right when it happened, right before it happened back in September of 2019, which literally caused kind of caused this whole thing. We could go back to the great financial crisis and them allowing themselves to get bailed out, the banks. But yeah, let's, I guess, be a little bit lenient and say, oh, okay, it started in 2019 when the new version of QE, what would that be, 3 or 4, started technically back then when the repo crisis happened. So anyways, that's kind of an update on that. So the executive order was essentially a nothing burger. They're going to try and speed things up, and they want to research this. Obviously, CBDCs came up again. I think in general, they're going to try and position themselves with legislation to scare you into CBDCs, but that's entirely up to you. And Wales is really, really good at holding this frame. By the way, it just depends. Sometimes I'm there and I'm in that frame, and sometimes, if I'm being honest, I'm not. And I'm like, oh yeah. So he's a great reminder to have around of like, yeah, no, this is how it is. Like, most of the mandates and the executive orders and the things that they're trying to push through, they're not actually legal. A lot of what they're trying to shape and do is not legal. And so it's kind of a bummer, but it's like, unless you have a ton of the population that all of a sudden gets really smart about the legal system, which I'm not versed at all in a lot of it, is you really just you end up with a system of politicians and whatnot that kind of just start making their own rules up, right? And they start infringing on amendment rights, and that usually isn't a good thing, right? So anyway, what else did I have here that I wanted to cover? Oh, this is actually perfect. This brings us into get these on. Let's bring up Wales. Yo, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Okay, excellent. How are you?
Can't complain, man. Just another day to kind of crack the code, right?
Get you jumping on with me. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, man. I can't get enough of this talk, bro.
I'm just trying to get a little bit more awake than I am now. Okay, so yeah, I think overall that there's a lot of people presenting this frame. And here's the frame. It's pretty much right here. This Ryan, who used to work at Messari Crypto, has pretty much laid it out for us. Okay. Either challenge nation states head on for monetary supremacy, like Bitcoin, or grow your own digital economy until it surpasses those of dominant sovereign powers like Ethereum. And this is true for Richard Hart products and projects as well, because I think that is literally going to be its own ecosystem and is quickly becoming that. It's amazing to see, like be the change you want to see in the world, right? Well, it's like, okay, well, MetaMask plays games. Okay, let's add that to the list. This service, or this supposed service that's not supposed to act as a middleman, that's not supposed to make people's lives worse. Okay, you guys play games. Well, now we're going to just make our own. I like that, because I'm the same way. I know you are too. It's like when people are playing games, we'll just go make our own.
100%.
So, all right, the former is difficult if you're competing with fiat currencies head on, but promising if you're challenging gold. So again, he's talking about how Bitcoin, it should not be trying to challenge peer-to-peer cashless transaction system like is originally written in the white paper. You should pretty much just kind of dump that idea and go after store of value, because store of value, you're going up against gold, and that's really the only player that you're going up against. So, okay, so there's that piece. He does mention, so the store of value asset like gold, which is currently worth 12 trillion. I didn't know that. This is important because, okay, so let's go back one. But Bitcoin use of MOE is challenged. There's no compelling case to use Bitcoin in real life commerce, given its volatility and scaling limitations. I mean, this should be common sense, but I noticed a lot of Bitcoin maxis miss this too. Not to mention sovereigns will be reluctant to cede control over their monetary systems and lose precious economic management tool. This is important because money is a network, and if Bitcoin has challenges bootstrapping a commercial network, its utility and value may ultimately be limited. Okay, so then we got that painted pretty clearly. Before demand for outside money that is not anyone's liability, like Bitcoin and gold, set to explode. Okay, yep, got it. How does he end this? I think that's pretty much it. So it's like, okay, so we're going with the store of value angle, which I kind of started to touch on. So I don't know like how they're going to break that down in terms of like how much a central bank or a hedge fund or a family office would have to hold to then be able to kind of like draw against that. But there's tens of thousands of those, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin. So there's eventually going to have to be some sort of fractionalization. I think I just made that word up, of the asset, because that's always going to happen. That happened with gold. That happened with, pretty much any other asset that a bank, or commodity rather, that a bank can hold. So yeah, I just think it's going to get to this point where it's like everything's good. Oh my God, we won. Everyone thinking that Bitcoin's the finish line, and then the rug pull is going to be that you're just sitting on another banking asset. We've just taken gold and replaced it with Bitcoin now, and it's like it's the same thing.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. They're recreating the same game, but getting you to think that this is like some whole new world, and it's not. It's not.
So let's talk about something that might be a little heady, because the thing that bothers me the most with this whole crypto comparison to, I guess, legacy side financial system is the following. People that try to make that comparison about volatility and scalability, not scalability, right? Because we know that Bitcoin cannot be used for payments. Like that's fine, all well and done. Yeah. However, what isn't true is that Bitcoin isn't just Bitcoin. Right? We're literally taking something that we think has value and relating it to something that doesn't, which is the dollar. And this is where all analyses fail. Period. All analyses, economic and financial, fail with respect to what the future could look like, and using volatility as a drawback to say not this. Because think about it. If everything is priced in one thing, well, then that's it. That's what it is. There is no more relative value that you can lean on to say, oh, one Bitcoin costs yada yada. It is just one Bitcoin. Just like one hex is just one hex. Right? Yes. So this is one thing that people have to try to wrap their heads around, because I get it's like a third order thought or a fourth order thought, right? It's not something we typically think of. And I only came to this realization because I don't think about anything else. So I get it. But it's important because this is what gives us the answer. We don't have to take volatility into account, because volatility is a measure of variance, aka change. What change will there be when the system is static? None. You're welcome. Volatility is not a concern. So they need to remove that, right? Just from the cryptocurrency conversation in general. because
Yeah.
only when people are saying, okay, dollars out, only cryptos now. Only then can you take variance into account. And then it's gonna matter, well, what coin does what. Then that question really, really matters. Then
Yeah,
all
that's a
these
great point.
things, yeah, then all these things we've been talking about, well, guess what? You just got caught with your pants down because you thought it was cool to hold some bullshit. See?
Yeah,
And this is what people don't understand. And it's okay. They'll understand it.
it'll it'll be interesting to see how, as FX markets shake out, how
Hmm.
that affects everything too. Because again, everyone values Bitcoin based off US dollar,
Correct.
which is dumb. I've said this for a
Correct.
really long time. Like,
Yeah,
one Bitcoin has always just been one Bitcoin.
that's right.
If you are trying to break free of Big Brother and the system, why the fuck are you denominating it in US dollar? That should have never happened. So from the start, when that started happening and exchanges started popping up and telling you what it was worth, that was the middleman.
Yep.
Like that that was all these people who are so used to having that as a part of their life, like they can't actually picture life without that. So they don't even know it, but subconsciously they just go out and recreate it over and over and over again. So it's almost like it's like they manifested this shit. A lot of
Yes.
the early people in crypto, because they didn't really know what else to look for.
They
So
didn't
they
know
went
what
and
they were
found,
doing, really.
yeah, they went and found the same thing that they've always known.
Yeah,
Um,
I think back to those early days, and I tell you, it was just an experiment. Most
yeah.
people, it's very small the number of people I can remember talking about replacing the economic system back then. This is what we're
Oh
talking
yeah.
about right now,
Yeah.
right? This was not the conversation back then, and it's only really possible now because we have the technology to make it possible, plausible. It wasn't really plausible back then. It wasn't plausible in 2015. It wasn't plausible in 2018. It really wasn't.
Hmm.
So it's that
Yeah.
realization that people need to come to terms with. It really was only plausible mid 2019 when Uniswap V1 came out, because only then was the technology sufficiently good enough to allow peer to peer transactioning. Before that
Yeah.
point, or decentralized transactioning, before that point in time, it wasn't really possible in the true sense. There was always some intermediary in the fore somewhere, right? Like they were just back there somewhere in the background.
That's a
Just,
great point.
yeah.
And Uniswap is completely compromised in my eyes now,
Yes, 100%.
with the board of directors and all the ex-Obama era, ex-Bush era people that are involved in that now. It's just a
A
fuckery
cesspool.
at
It's
the
a
highest,
cesspool.
yeah,
It's a
at the
cesspool.
highest level.
Hmm.
I need to clarify two things I said earlier. I was talking about Basel three. Basel three is the changes that they made to gold acceptance into like being able to be held as reserves at banks. Bretton Woods three is what Zoltan was talking about. I completely conflated the two.
Mm,
Um, so that's what we were talking about on the last stream. You and I, just the other day, it seems like.
yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so enough of that shit. That is,
I mean, this is a whole stream within itself, right?
I know.
Because the whole idea is just crazy. Like, what are we comparing the dollars for? We need to move away from that. That's the whole problem. The whole
Yeah.
problem is we're using a measuring stick that can't measure anything.
Yeah, no shit. No shit. Um, yeah, and so, I mean, even this, like, okay, how come Bitcoin just did your typical BART pattern last night when US was sleeping? I think it hit at 12:30 Asian time, so like lunchtime, right after lunchtime, which is right when US is about to start sleeping. And it continued to do that. Basically, retraced most of the gains that you guys got out of that
Session.
last run up
Right.
in expectation of today's CPI. Well, first off, like it's still mind blowing that in 2022 people think that CPI fucking matters.
Right.
That's the first thing that's like, wow, dude. I really wish like that metric is so lagging. That metric is missing so much that it's like, why do we even bother? And yeah, it was in full expectation of a high inflation number or CPI number coming in today. Consumer price index has very little to do with actual inflation on the ground. It has everything to do with government trying to look good, so they make the formula mask out things that make it look bad. It's really that simple. So yeah, so I don't know how that's a store of value when it's moving in tandem with U.S. dollar moves, with S&P 500 risk asset moves. It's moving the same. So it still has some shaking out to do and clarifying to do itself.
Yep. Sure does.
All right, so let's pivot now. Like this is the topic. This is what I wanted to talk about, which is we talked about this financial stack, and I was kind of playing around with it. This is a very ugly sketch. I didn't feel like redoing it. I'm trying to still get better at my pen tablet tool. So this is what you get. So first off, I want to take a big step back. We're huge proponents of Richard Hart products on this channel. If you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. So he created Hex, which has been running for 2 years. Think back to when Bitcoin was running for 2 years, its first 2 years, and everything that was happening at that point. This has outperformed that. Hex literally outperformed every single major market that you could possibly pin it against. You can check out Hex Graphs. I think it's hexgraphs.com if you literally want to go check that out for yourself, or you could just look at a Hex chart and add all these on as compares. You can add on S&P or Wilshire, whatever metric you want to use, and you'll see that it's outperformed that in a disgusting fashion. So Hex was the first product. And then he kind of was sitting back and was waiting for Ethereum to get their shit together and roll out Ethereum 2.0, which they're not. Big surprise. The most recent live stream that you can catch Vitalik in is talking about how he's excited and hopeful that they'll roll out Ethereum 2.0 in less than 6 years, which is what it took them to get everything out in the first place. That is not a vote of confidence. That is not inspiring at all, especially with how fast money markets are moving and how fast crypto's moving. 6 years is a fucking eternity. So he said, no, I don't like that. So I'm going to go make layer one. And so right now, that kind of seems like the really popular topic, by the way, is like Phantom, which has had most of its value extracted out, by the way. And with Andre retiring or announcing that he's retired after he was kind of retired anyways, the Phantom network is left essentially being a ghost chain. A lot of these layer ones are ghost chains. What's another one? Poly, Matic, like what are they really doing? Yeah, so everyone kind of like the narrative was, oh, we're Ethereum but cheaper. Oh, okay. We're built similar, but based on Solidity, and we're cheaper. So, anyways, he decided, hey, I'm going to do Pulse. So you had an opportunity to sacrifice for this, and it was representative of a big polarizing topic that a lot of people should care about, right? And so I like how Crypto Stylist actually just did a video recently. We're about to drop it on Discord Syndicate channel, and she drew parallels between Nike and kind of like the in-your-face style that they've taken to stand up for like really big topics and equal rights and shit like that, right? And it's kind of the same thing that you see happening here. And then obviously we need an aggregator, so there's PulseX, and now he's looking at even doing a MetaMask replacement. So it's like if you were to just stick with this stack that he's building out, this financial stack, you're already in really good shape because you've got 3 at minimum potential streams of revenue if you've gotten involved in all 3. Like if you sacrificed for Pulse and PulseX and you're in Hex already, you've got 3 streams of revenue. Your stream of revenue, which is Hex and on the Ethereum network now, is going to be duplicated over to Pulse. So you could even get granular and split that up. And so now we're talking about 4 streams of revenue. We could start doing farming depending on how much you sacrificed and how much you get. You could become a liquidity provider. So now we're up to 5, 6. The average millionaire has 7 streams of revenue. Like I don't think enough people involved in Hex really sit back and think about this. So even if you did nothing else and you just chill with what you've got a shitload of streams of revenue. And you're not even really involved in the ecosystem. How crazy is that? At what other point in history could you have just literally latched on to somebody else's truck, to somebody else's train, and gotten this many streams of revenue with very little effort? All you literally had to do was say, take my money, fool. And that's it. Kind of wild, right?
Literally never to. Never ever in the history of humanity has this happened as far as I know. I mean, the string of luck is crazy.
So. Yeah, I think this is the only time.
And then to throw Hedron in the mix because...
shit, yeah, I didn't even bring that in.
Yeah, because what people don't understand, if they staked correctly, they probably will never have to stake a Hex again or stake any or sell any Hex.
Or sell any, yeah.
Sell any Hex because of Hedron.
Well, I like that. Like, let's come up with a couple more of those that aren't like just copycats of Hedron. Don't fucking do that. Like, come up with something that's a unique selling proposition. You got your USP, you got a use case, you got something good. But I mean, like, how many more of those do you need before you never have to sell any of that ever again?
Right. I mean,
how many streams of revenue do you need?
Yeah, there's limited. I mean, limited, right? And that's the thing. And this is why early adopters get rewarded. I mean, and to think
Always,
a million
always.
Hedron was just 80 cents, 70 cents last week. Now it's $5.30.
I know, dude. I know.
You know, and
Which is
these are the
retarded. Like
yeah,
these numbers, like you have to wrap your head around the bigger picture. The bigger picture is if you can get your hand on billions and billions and billions of this, then you can become a liquidity provider. You can farm this stuff. Those opportunities will come later.
yep.
Like, and the big difference is that like I've been in the crypto game for a while, right? 2017. I'd consider that a fucking lifetime with how fast this shit moves. Truly. And so it's like a lot of times like got involved in Pancake Swap when it came out on the BSC network or Binance Smart Chain network. When you're getting involved in these projects, usually they're an anonymous team, which especially the BSC chain itself, I think it was literally mostly just CZ and Justin Sun moving around money, getting that chain to look like it was popular. And when it first came out, actually, like after 2 weeks, there were people doing on-chain analysis proving some like a group of wallets was just moving around money. Justin Sun, speaking of which, is in a shitload of trouble right now, under a lot of heat. Maybe we'll get into that later. But my point is that like we got involved in these and we were farming and we were doing all this shit, and then you would just wake up and maybe this was a rug pull. Maybe they got hacked and you didn't even know it. So like you would have to set alerts or like do all this tomfoolery just to find out if like and run to your computer every morning just to find out if you got fucked. Like that is not what this was created to do.
Yeah,
That is not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to chill. We're trying to lower our stress levels. We're trying to get involved in things that we can keep a good enough eye on and keep a pulse on. Pun intended, to keep our finger on the pulse so that, we know what we're involved in. And so it's like, look at a lot of these DAOs and these anonymous, people that are involved that you have no clue about. You have to sit there and babysit on-chain analysis to see if you're going to get screwed today. This is completely different. Like even obviously the Richard Hart projects, but Hedron as well. It's like that came out of the same ethos, which was the Richard Hart ecosystem, let's call it. That came out of that. So yeah, there's going to be a ton of scams that come out of this because they're going to come out of Pulse and they're going to launch on Pulse. But when you're talking about like core people who got together, who all believed in the same shit, and like this, again, we're talking about like the origins of Bitcoin. And when that came out, you had a bunch of like-minded individuals who masterminded together to create and launch that. And then those individuals, they're probably still in the ecosystem and they probably went out and created all kinds of great things. And you never even know it because nobody's taking claim of Bitcoin. It's the same thing here. You have a ton of people who believed in the same shit who are now going out and creating epic value stacked on top of the network, of the name, of the community, etc. Like that's the kind of shit you want to be involved in. Like I'm sorry, like looking around in life, like what do you attach your horse to? That's the kind of shit that you get involved in.
Yeah, I mean,
right? I mean, shit, dude, I can't make it any more clear.
nah, you know what it is, man. I think for a lot of people, they kind of just get confused and thinking that the future has to look like the past,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have to. It's gonna look how we want it to.
Yeah.
Kinetics wants to jump on, so I'm sending the link.
Yeah, I just sent him a link too.
Oh, okay. I'll let him know.
Yeah.
Cool. But this is what I think is important to realize. The future is what you want it to be. Literally. The question is, do you want to be involved? I didn't want to be, but I feel like I have no option at this point because nobody else wants to do anything.
Yeah.
So
we're looking back and nobody's
yeah,
there.
I'm not gonna we've talked about this before. Yeah, I'm not gonna just sit here and let the crazies continue doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
It'll be tough. It's not gonna be easy. But what else do we have to do?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about like mission and purpose, you and I talk quite a bit about this. I don't expect everyone to feel the same. Everyone kind of has their role in life. Everyone has their place. But I'm definitely somebody that like this is the kind of shit that I get excited about. This is the kind of thing I want to be involved in. This is what I want to put my stamp on. Right? You want to call it legacy, whatever. Is like this is the kind of shit I want to get involved in. Speaking of which, let's bring on Kinetics. What's up, brother?
What?
Welcome to the stream.
Speaking of which, what does that mean? Don't say legacy and then bring me on stream.
Oh shit!
Sure. Hey guys.
Yeah, here we go, man. Here we
What's
go.
up
We
to
got a party
everybody in the
started.
chat, man? What up, Perp?
We got a party started here,
Yeah,
folks. Yes.
yeah.
All right. Cool. What's up, everyone? Thanks for jumping on. Yes, we're talking about this sovereignty network, which I think there's going to be many iterations to it. Like at the start, to a degree, you're in okay shape with just holding Bitcoin off of a centralized exchange. Let's be honest, you're in pretty good shape, right? Like it'd be hard for them to come and scoop that. They can't shut that off outside of a quantum event, a meteor hitting the planet. They can't really shut that off. I think you're in a lot better shape when you start to when you can start to create yield with something like Hex. And then you start to, okay, now we can start to move because we got a layer 1 with Pulse. We got an aggregator. We've got such a big stack because we've sacrificed. We can start to become a player in these ecosystems. Then you've got a pretty good finger on the pulse of what's going on. And if we just keep stacking stuff in and around this, we start to create an isolated financial stack that I think later you'd have to worry about things like being on its own private network, being isolated outside of, like, you've got the regular internet and then you've got this private internet. You would have to start getting crazier and crazier with that. Auxiliary or alternate power sources, which again, Mad Energy kind of fits into that. Like there's so many pieces that fit into where you would even need to be, and the most insane, furthest idea future that you could possibly imagine. I think the concept is where things are going to have to go, because it's not that they're going to figure out a way to crack Bitcoin. They're just going to figure out a way to stop you from getting it off, getting it off blockchain, getting it off the network. You're not going to be able to take that and put it into value that you can go get groceries with. It's just going to become this novelty thing that maybe you could go and try and figure out ways to get loans based off of it. I don't know. But they kind of already got that. But all that is infiltrated. BlockFi, Celsius, all that's heavily infiltrated. It's not what you think it is.
Not at all. I mean, and we see it all the time with the games that the regulators play when they act like they're going to take action against these entities, and they never really. It's just a headline. You never see any follow up. Interesting, no? And these are the kinds of things that the average person is clearly not going to pay attention to, because they don't have, at least they don't think that they have a vested interest in paying attention. When in reality, yeah, they do, because that's why you can't allocate your little bits of money to certain endeavors to try to make some more money so that you can continue to replicate that process and get yourself out of that rat race, right? I mean, I think it's important that people realize that the system is designed to keep you at your cubicle or whatever menial job you have. That's the whole purpose of it. And there's documented proof of this everywhere. So if you don't realize this, that's fine. However, look it up, because if you're not happy, odds are you can do something about it.
Yeah, and we could talk quite a bit at length about this. Like even accredited investor, that's a $1 million minimum. They want to change that now and make it $10 million minimum.
Yeah.
So who are they speaking to? Literally
Everybody.
0.01% of the population is who qualifies for that? Maybe less?
But who are they speaking to? They're speaking to everybody by saying, fuck all of y'all.
Yeah.
They literally are. They're saying, hey, you know what? We don't like, and Big Peppa said this on his channel, and I really like the way he puts it, is they're saying, we don't want you moving into our neighborhood. You guys stay down there in your little pleb neighborhood. You guys stay down there with and make sure that you continue working 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life so you can retire out for 40% of what you actually need. So you guys can keep producing the goods and services that me and my elites need.
Yep.
And you've discussed this before. And Jay, back in like 2018, you were discussing this a lot, where there's always that argument that the elites or the wealthy will have, well, if everybody gets rich, then who's going to take the garbage out? That's bullshit. That's a bullshit argument.
Such bullshit. Yep. It's such bullshit. Yeah. That's funny. I actually don't remember.
I don't think I've ever heard that one, bro. That's a little insane.
Yeah, he said, Jay was talking about how everyone deserves to be wealthy. And if someone thinks that that's not going to happen, there's going to be an opportunity for someone to become wealthier, to be the one that does pick up that trash.
Who the fuck said just because you got money, you can't take out the damn trash? That's fucking asinine,
Some of the wealthiest people that I know in this community sold their waste management business to Waste Management, the company, for buco bucks. So they started their own private waste management company, and I just use that because it's a general term, but Waste Management literally moved into the area and bought them out for way more than they were worth. Brilliant strategy on their behalf.
Yeah.
So here's where that thought process comes from. A lot of normies will say this. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. Where that came from is people would literally say that to me. If everyone was rich in the world, Jay, then who would take out the trash? I don't know. The same people who fucking take it out now.
Yeah.
Because they love their job. Like in a world where everyone loves their job, nobody feels like they're working.
This
None
is
of that
why
fucking
money
matters.
Jay, that right? I've never been able to say that. That's the way to say it. That's exactly why money is valueless. The whole notion of value is in our heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because if everybody's satisfied doing what they want to do day in, day out, there is no need for credits and debits. Yeah. Everything should just be abundantly plentiful because guess what? Resources are out there. They exist.
Yeah.
Some motherfuckers like to mine. I like to blow up buildings. I'd do that shit if I had the ability to do,
right?
Demolition, right? What boy doesn't like doing that? So, all of these things. And of course, it has to be like I could see a future where money doesn't exist and everybody's just happy because we're just all doing what we want to do in alignment with what we know could be success or something better. But of course, a lot of psychological changes have to happen. It's not going to be something that you can't decree that, you can't legislate something like that. That's like legislating morality. And that's the biggest problem we have present day in this world. People think they can do that. You can't.
Yeah. I mean, I think in a highly elevated, sophisticated future existence, you probably would have no money. Why would you need it?
It really makes sense.
Everyone's like intelligence levels higher. Everyone's let's call it spiritual awakening level or whatever is higher. So they understand a lot of the things that we don't understand. So there's a lot less fear. There's a lot less fear of lack. There's a lot less of the disparity between classes. Let's call it. Everyone plays their role. Whereas right now, everyone doesn't see it like that. Everyone right now is playing a role. They're fulfilling a part, a little tiny cog in a much bigger wheel. We were all a part of that, but people don't really see it that way. And if I can position myself as a victim, then I get clout on the internet. I get everyone to feel sorry for me. I get attention. And so there's this whole, basket of issues that are actually stopping something like that from happening. And all that really would be required is like more enlightenment, essentially. For the society itself to then elevate to that level to where they actually all can see that and understand that basic notion that like money is actually not necessary at all for us to trade and exchange value back and forth. We don't need that.
And we didn't need it for centuries, right?
No.
So
no, I think we will return to it. It's just we're fucking long way away, I think.
Long ways away. Yeah, I agree. And this is why these kinds of conversations I think are actually more important than talking about how you can get rich off crypto. We already got the money. We need to figure out how to make things right or make things better or whatever you want to think of it as. But, we clearly got work to do. And I think that that's the most important thing that people need to realize because, again, look at what they're doing to people's banks account. Look at what they're trying to do to crypto. They're trying to not find ways to block you from exploiting the value you have at hand.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it might be wrong. It might be illegal. Later on down the road, they might be found guilty. That ain't going to stop you from selling your bag. Yes, that ain't going to stop you from selling your bag. If they get in your head, they got in your head. They won. And you sell your bag, and now you're out.
That's step one.
Out of the game.
Right? Yeah. That's step one. Step two is just bashing people with headlines after headlines after headlines to the point that they think that what they're headlining is plausible. This is what got me. I mean, I really thought I understood the internet. Like, I'm never gonna not say this because it's so important. I'm not a Bitcoin billionaire like Richard Hart because I'm a moron that didn't do his research. Fact, not fiction. Because I had the ability to acquire Bitcoin back in 2010. So clearly I was halfway there. But I didn't make it all the way. And this is why. A lot of us won't admit it though.
Yeah.
I make a 100%. Point to admit that shit almost every time I stream because, bro, it hurts. I'm sitting here staring at my fucking job crap. I don't want to be looking at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Like I stream and work at the same time because life sucks if I don't, bro. Like I'll be sitting here. Yeah, I'll be sitting here literally working. And I'm like, man, I'm bored. Let me do a stream. Like this is how I end up streaming most of the time. Because I just can't stand like I know I gotta stay focused, but it's like I can't. There's no incentive, no interest, no desire. What I
Yeah.
mean, I'm essentially a gatekeeper for money at the bank where I work, and I am not incentivized to perform. Think about that. And I'm a high
Yeah.
performer. Imagine the people that don't even take pride in their work. I at least take pride in what I do. So it's not like I'm throwing shit at the wall either, right?
Hmm.
So these are the realities that people don't take into account when they're like, "Oh, I have a financial advisor." You don't. You're getting scammed for your money is actually what's happening. But
You know what the
Yeah.
financial advisor has? He has a sales rep that sells him on what products to sell you next time that
correct.
you sit in
Yes.
front of him.
He's
That's
he's
what
the pharmaceutical version
yes,
of that.
yes,
Yep.
yep.
That's right. He's a
Great way to put
pharmacist.
that.
He's a pharmacist, bro, but
Yeah.
in finance.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's a financial pharmacist. That's right.
Yep.
That's what an FA is.
How funny is that shit, dude?
Yeah.
Did you know the average? And this is
Public information. We ain't making it up.
statistics are from like 2015, I think it was. That the average. I actually got this from Robert Kiyosaki's team. The average financial advisor, because they run the gamut from they do really well all the way down to they make absolutely no money at all. And the
Yeah.
average financial advisor out there, and the reason they only stay in business 2 to 3 years, is $17,000 a year. So you want the guy that makes $17,000 a year telling you how to invest your millions?
Yeah. Just like, do you want the accountant that makes $33,000 a year on average, figuring out your books, and
Yep.
doing your crypto shit?
Yo,
Like,
that shit is
it's
wild.
mind blowing, dude.
How do you
It's
want a
mind-blowing.
CPA helping you with something you got to
Yep.
teach them about? You're out your mind.
Yep. That's that goes back to what my accountant always says. He's pricey. And he says
Yeah.
a good accountant doesn't cost, he pays.
That's right.
And it's true.
That's right.
Because man, I don't know how
Yeah.
many times I've gotten money back when I thought I was gonna owe tens of thousands. And I was
Boom.
like,
Yeah.
oh crap, hell yes. Thank
But
you.
that's experience, right? That I think teaches
Yeah.
us that because
Yeah.
it took me a while to realize because even when I first started streaming, and even though I knew, right, you guys would advise me accordingly by telling me, hey man, you cannot pay or do whatever crazy nonsense you're thinking you can get away with, but we can do something better,
Mhm.
or we can
Yeah.
do something else,
Just
or
play the same game they're playing. Play
right,
it better.
right,
Yeah.
and
Which-
that ultimately ended up being the right move
Yeah.
because
It took me a while because the anarchist inside of me, the
That's the point.
anarcho-capitalist inside of me wanted
Yeah.
to do the whole revocation of election
that's the point.
and go out and say, F you, government. But I don't want the problems that come with it. I saw my grandfather, my wife's grandfather, everything be taken from him. And he knew the Constitution inside and out. He didn't pay he would get out of tickets for not registering his vehicle with the county because he paid for it in gold instead of in fiat slave notes. And he could explain the whole legalese behind all of that. Like you were not going to beat this man at the system, but they still took it, dude. The game is robbed. It's rigged, bro. They're out to rob you. And so you just got to know how to play the game and play it the right way, man.
Right.
Yeah, I think you'd spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to dodge, mitigate, whatever you want to call it, essentially escape taxes. You could spend your whole life doing that, and that could be a full-time job for you.
It was for him. He died in his books.
Yeah.
Let me tell you guys a little story. How the hell does Wales know all this tax shit? That exact reason. Because I knew this shit is rigged. I figured it out. I was trying to learn without having to learn from school. Because I at least knew that if I wanted to make it in the real world, the shit in those books was not going to pay my bills. Period. I at least knew that, even though I didn't know a lot of other things. But as I was learning and educating myself, I came to the realization that the system is designed to pigeonhole you so that you have no choice except to get fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Or to relinquish control.
Which flavor of fucked are you going to get?
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly
relinquish control of everything. I mean, that's the whole point. Think about it. We literally saw this for the past 2 years where they were willing to push people to the point where they felt they had no sovereignty over their physical self. I mean, I just had to deal with this 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Still
Absolutely
happening
wild.
to this day. And these people really think they're well within their rights. And you have to be educated in order to combat this. There is no way around it. You can be upset.
Well, they're gonna run roughshod over you, and unless you know that you can defend. You have a defensible
So
position.
how did the past 2 years happen? How does everything that we know is illegal happen? Well, it happens because A, the people invoking it know it's illegal, and B, the people invoking it that know it's illegal know that those others that know are too busy doing other shit to bother. So what
Yes.
happens? Yeah, exactly. So what happens? What happens is they get away with it, and until somebody decides to say something, precedent is being set.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this
And
is
there's
where
not enough.
FinCEN, I mean, FinCEN and TSA and all these things, they're all illegal as fuck. DHS, all of that shit is illegal.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
the whole both Patriot Acts are
Entirely
literally just
illegal.
literally spit in the face of and rub the Constitution's face in the dirt. Like
I mean,
literally.
let's
Yeah.
ignore the fact that the Constitution even exists, because the fact that these things have to be put on paper to me is asinine. Basic human rights should be sensible to all, and if you're not sensible enough to get it, then you deserve to be put in a cage. I think that's the route we need to go, because it's high time. Well, it's high time people learn to be responsible for them
It's
fucking
fucking
selves.
aggressive. That's
Yeah,
aggressive.
it's very aggressive, is it not?
You know,
But
Yeah.
what's the answer? Do we just let these psychos continue to run the asylum? I think fucking not, bro. I
yeah.
think
Well,
fucking
I don't
not.
know. Maybe it's a problem assuming they're human, but that's for another day. To
Well,
discuss that.
I agree with that, but I mean, this goes right back to we had a conversation Jay and I did in Telegram. Well, he brought this to my attention, and I love it that the 3 solutions to what crypto and freedoms are facing. Have you pulled that up yet, Jay?
No, I haven't even gone to that. What did I see?
So it was 3 solutions. Is this a CoinDesk Biden issue, or is this something that you commented on? I think it's something you commented on.
Oh, I was just
It's-
commenting on that.
Okay, so it was about CoinDesk, their article on Biden issues long-awaited U.S. executive order on crypto, and you said the 3 solutions to what crypto and freedoms are facing. Number 1, a bunch of people all of a sudden get educated on legal system and sue the branches of government for all the mandates and fuckery they've been doing, which is illegal. I like that. Get involved. Number 2, get involved in politics and fund better people. By the way, we happen to be doing that right now, guys. Or there's a few of us that are highly involved in that. And number 3, run for office. And I don't really want to run for office, but I'm all game for the 1 and 2. And there's people that are built for running for office.
Or number 4, run away.
Yeah.
And which
Stick your
does
head in
nothing.
the sand. It's the
Yeah,
same
it
as
does
sticking your head in the sand.
Yeah.
All you do is leave your rear exposed, right? So they're still gonna put it in without spitting on it first. So I hate to put it in such a rough analogy, but that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you that's not an option. That's not a viable option. That's
it's really
living
not.
on your knees. That's not dying on your feet.
Well, what's really interesting is I would love to see somebody systematically just dissect and depose all these 3-letter agencies, all these acts, all this bullshit that's been layered on top of the last, let's say, 20 years, on top of the Constitution, on top of these basic things that should just be law of man for man, woman for woman, etc. Because you'll see that they're so conflicting that they shouldn't actually exist.
Yep.
But that's the whole
They're
point.
so conflicting that they shouldn't
Jay,
exist.
but this is my whole point, bro. How the hell do we get here, right? How do we get here, and how do we stop it from happening again? Because this is where I'm at. We got here because
That's a deep question. How do you stop it from happening again? That's a deep
Yeah.
question. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
think about it, because that's where I'm at this point. I'm done playing games. You know,
Oh, I know
I've been battling this. I've been fighting this war since I was at least 16. Okay, I'm 37, bro. I'm tired. I'm done playing games. These motherfuckers are not just gonna quit. Evil doesn't just quit. People have to come. You gotta come to terms with that. We're fighting evil here, not people that are reasonable, logical, rational, trying to do what's in their best interest. No,
Like
they're
I
trying
said,
to fuck you. They're trying to
maybe not
kill
even-
you. They're trying
Maybe not
to
even human.
whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever.
whatever the fuck they are.
Right? I
Um,
mean, it's crazy.
Well, okay,
bro.
let's unpack a piece of that. It's like I read some 4chan post, which is supposed to be like motivational.
I've never
I
been
don't know
on
how much of this
4chan.
is.
I gotta get
how
on
mu-
it.
It's really good. Pieces of it are amazing, and pieces of it are just utter garbage.
Garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like gold or garbage. There is no in between.
Nice.
I love it.
And so, anyways, what it was talking about is it's just like if you've lasted the last couple of years and you didn't get to poke, congratulations. Here's why.
Yeah.
You have no clue how long they were working on this. They might have been working on this for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. They might have been working on this. and they threw everything at you. They threw the fucking kitchen sink at you, and you made it. And so I think that there's a piece of that you probably should be looking at with this frame and with this reference is that like, yo, they had to do a lot and they still didn't get it. So it's like, I chalk that up as a win overall, because I think that the goal versus what they got out of this whole push was supposed to be two different outcomes. Like what they got was not supposed to be what they wanted. And now the issue is that when you go so hard, when you get so aggressive with that, and you lay out all your cards, is now everyone fucking sniffs this out. And like the amount of awakening you see now, like I am optimist at heart, but I don't think it's going to be like some overnight thing. But you do risk laying your hand out and going so hard, so quick that everyone's like, wait a second. And they start to wake up to all these layers, like Truman Show layers of the reality that start to become fragmented that they thought were truths. Now they start to question. So all this shit you used to get away with in the frame are now being questioned. So then the awakening level has no choice but to elevate to a level that you probably can't stop now and put a cap back on with traditional means of control and media, etc. Because you push too far too quick, right? So all of that is, I guess, a silver lining and upside to it. But yeah, you do raise a really, really good question. It's like the most important question you raised was, how do you stop this from happening again?
Yeah, because clearly putting it on paper isn't the solution. It's not.
No.
It's not, period. End of discussion. A nation of laws is not sufficient. This is why we have the Second Amendment. This is exactly why we have the Second Amendment.
And I got to believe that there's previous points in time for whatever kind of sentient beings we are, or whatever the fuck you want to call us, that we lived in a way that was way more enlightened than now. There's like proof of that. There's like proof.
How do people like us exist, Jay?
True. Yeah.
There's no other way, brother. I mean, we're from the same, we're all growing up in the same points in time. So what's the difference between us and people that have this desire to control everyone?
Or the ones that like and get off on being controlled.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because like those are same sides of the coin.
They're polar opposites.
Different sides. Yeah, different sides of the same coin. There
yeah, but they are the same coin nonetheless, because they are one for the other.
Just sitting at opposite ends of it.
Yeah. Holy crap! I don't even think of those people, honestly.
There's a large amount of those people that want to be controlled.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think about
it's a simpler thing to do.
Yeah.
If you can, if the nanny state can just take care of me, and I don't have to organize my life to actually manage my own life. Yeah, govern me harder, Daddy. That's exactly right, Bobby guy.
Every time I hear that phrase, Kinetics, I don't know if it's you that always says it, but every time I hear that line of that phrasing, it reminds me of when I was in high school, and I used to be so demoralized and depressed at thinking of what a future was supposed to be, and that future being that I'm really just supposed to go to college, get a job, and work until I die, and that's it. Like that was very depressing. I had no motivation, no aspirations. I had no desire of participating in that. And this is why I just joined the military and all this other crap. Yeah. Right? Like things happen because people are not motivated to fit into certain, properties of a system.
Yeah. Well, look at this. Look at this stack you have here, Jay. This stack you have right here means that there's some personal responsibility here, that you have to take care of these things. Like, are you? It's not as simple as, is my home insurance and my auto insurance paid? No, I got to make sure my taxes are taken care of, my estate is taken care of, my protections, my legacy, my the things that are going to be passed down to the next generation. All those things need to be protected, and this is not an easy thing to do. And no cheap attorney off the street is going to give you a full solution for this. So I don't want to turn this into a sales pitch by any means, but these things are needed, and there's a lot to managing. When you get to the level where you've got the government regulators coming for you and your crypto wealth because you become so wealthy, and just managing your money as a full-time job, it's going to be really difficult for you to be the manager of all that if you don't bring the right quarterback in to help with that stuff. So because we've got enough stuff already on our shoulders as human beings on a daily basis.
I agree. Two things. It's funny how we start off talking, every time we start off talking about fucking financial stack, we naturally find ourselves where? We bounce into politics and sovereignty and how fucked
It's
up
all
everything
related,
is.
man.
Yep.
It's because it's all
It's
sewn
all
together now.
interrelated. You can't
So
have
tight
one
now.
without
You
the
can't
other.
avoid it.
I mean, we don't have the freedom to transact. We don't have the freedom to express ourselves. This is the problem. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about a financial stack. We would just use Ethereum. We would just use MetaMask. We would just use Uniswap, right? We wouldn't have to do all of this running around. We wouldn't have to do all of this building. And you know,
this is pretty aggressive. And I don't even think this covers you all the bases for where things might go, right? But this is a great start. Like, we didn't touch on these two. Let's just quickly touch on them so everyone's up to speed. Is the private bank or private bank network is going to be required to bring you in and out of legacy, whatever legacy is, FX, fiats, whatever that ends up being, which is probably just going to be CBDCs. So while that's still around and you need to get value out to buy groceries, so until that whole system's replaced, you're going to need a way in and out. So that's what those private banks are required to back, or that network is required to back the exit and on-ramp, so on-off ramp, which will allow you to bring in that type of currency into this system to then get into this stack, right? Which, I mean, long-term, I hope that's not even required. Like, that whole concept and that whole piece of, like, even this just feels so dirty of the financial stack piece. But it's going to be required for a while until that goes away, or magically, like, you come over here and it's on this, some sort of different internet, and you have found a way around that. Until that occurs, this is what I think it's going to look like. But what's fascinating about this is we're quickly finding ourselves in a place where, like, the passed on adage of how to do your taxes, the passed on adage of how to create entities, how to create entity structuring is so far bullshit and bad advice at this point that it's almost like you have to go back to the drawing board. And this is where I think a lot of people get lost, especially in like a product like you guys offer, like MCA, or even Anderson Advisors, who I used before. And I talk about this all the time. I paid $10,000 to those guys for basically nothing. They'll create me unlimited entities for my life, and they did 12. I think for 12 months they managed mail forwarding addresses and some other stuff. I get to talk to them, and they're really sharp guys. But I'm not trying to demean their service. I'm just saying that, like, I knew that was required, but most people don't know that that's required. Most people still think that they can go to the corner store CPA, they can go to H&R Block, and you know what? Like, don't get me wrong. If you're a minimum wage worker and you're fully in the system, you're on welfare, food stamps, whatever, and you're making minimum $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, that probably is your best bet. Let's be honest. Outside of that, we're not talking about that. We're talking about, like, crypto wealth and a lot of possible future hexagon millionaires. That requires a completely different fucking way of doing it. I don't know how people don't get this. And so, and it's fun. That's what makes me so upset about it, is like, when you start to realize this shit and see this, it's a lot of fun trying to figure this out. It is. I
enjoy it. Maybe I'm just a finance geek, but I love this
maybe I am
stuff.
too.
Yeah.
It's like a new version of Monopoly, dude. Yeah. And like, you get to explore all this, and the good thing about it is then you get to retain the knowledge so that people can't run game on you anymore. Like, I thought that was a good thing, to be educated enough that you can't have game run on you, right?
That's what my goal is every time. I think I exude that, man. Well. I mean, there's no other way to roll. There's no other way to roll, in my opinion.
So
hit the like, ladies.
I saw that. So the financial stack too, you can think of that in terms of, like, personally owning it or an entity owning it. And again, that takes you to another level of the game, and that becomes more fun, if you ask me. Yeah, and then obviously this reference here, this I actually pulled out of digging into the Pandora Papers. So there's been 3 layers of paper drops that are, like, absolutely insane, that basically break the entire financial system, tell you how crooked and corrupt it is, and show you how easy it is for these motherfuckers to hide money. That's basically what they are. We had Panama Papers first, Pandora Papers, and then the Credit Suisse Papers just released like a couple weeks ago. And the Pandora Papers was by far the largest. It took them a year just to actually start to go through that and put together a site. Well, out of that, they actually figured out and put together the entity structure that most of these players are using. And here's where it is that there's a beneficiary, which is you. Let's start at the bottom. You've got all these LLCs, whatever you want. I'm sure there's probably some S-Corps in there too. Those are the base layer workers. And then the next, they all roll up to the holding company. So the holding company owns all the business assets. That rolls up to the trust. All money rolls there. And so you can start to put trustees here, which are other people, or even yourself, and then you are the beneficiary. So I think, because it's been a while since I actually made this, I think when I originally made it, I put beneficiary here, but you could actually be, the beneficiary could actually be the trustee and vice versa. So you are the beneficiary. You are that person, but you could also be the trustee.
I don't recommend you being your own trustee, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Roger that.
There's a lot
transactional
of
reasons.
Yeah. There's a lot of liability as well as possible piercing the corporate veil if you're your own trustee.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense. That makes sense.
You always have to be one step removed. That's the goal here.
Yeah. So anyways, like this is the structure. This is the structure that all these people have used to
Wales, that looks
hide.
really familiar.
Sure does.
Looks really familiar. I've seen that somewhere.
This is probably what you guys do too. Something similar.
Yep. That's what MCA does, man.
Yeah.
And it's multiple trusts. It's not just one, because each trust has its own purpose within the legacy finance space. So one gets you
it has to.
benefits. One gets you tax benefits. One gets you asset protection. The other one helps you move all of your wealth to the next generation.
Yeah. Yeah, and just like your LLCs are kind of like your workers. Like at the trust level, it makes sense that you'd have to segment and segregate it out that way too. Because like with the LLCs, we can put our IP in those. We can put our physical addresses and buildings in those, right? So we're like, I think people need to understand this part of that as well. Is like what these things actually mean. And when you explain it simply like that, like these are my worker bees. Here's the mother, aunt or whatever, and here's what this means, and here's what this does. I think it's a lot simpler for people to understand, but it's like, like the game has changed and you got to play it differently. I think it's a simple way to say that.
So one thing that's really cool about this is, let's say that LLC, let's take that LLC. Some of you guys, maybe you've watched the movie Billions or the show Billions, which Wales absolutely loves because it's so realistic. It's exactly how the financial system works, like to a T. It must be. I think it's a documentary, in fact. So we'll just leave that there. But what's really interesting is if you've ever watched any of these financial shows, you've heard the term family office thrown out, and that family office literally is an LLC that manages a family's investments. And with the LLCs, you can actually create these family offices that operate as an LLC that literally pay your daily, that they do all your bookkeeping, do all your accounting, they pay your household expenses, everything. And it's all managed by a company that literally that company is doing is a family office that's managing your money. It's a beautiful, beautiful design, the way that you can leverage those things. So just wanted to throw that out there. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And that is your worker bee. Your family office is your worker bee, and it manages your passive income.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I mean, I think people just don't realize that they just can't have, a lot of zeros just sitting in one account. Like they can have a few $1,000s or $100,000 or a few million. It just changes the equation, because like there's people that can see this information. Whether you want them to see it or not, because that's the system that we've allowed to be created. There is no privacy.
Not to mention, if you've got it just sitting there parked in a bank, even if you're making 0.001% interest on it, you're losing buying power compared to inflation. So it's not wise to leave it there anyway.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt, dude. Like what is a high yield savings account even pay, and what are the minimums on that? I mean, I think they max out at like 1%. Like we're celebrating 1% now.
Less than. So
I'm talking credit unions. Credit unions.
Oh, okay, yes. But let's talk about what rich people do with their capital when it's not invested. When it's not invested. Yeah, it's not a savings account. What it is,
let's start there.
It's in a product that's called a money market fund. And all that is just a representation of cash that gives you yield. That is all. So it's just like if you're not allocated to, say, the SPY, for example, the S&P 500 ETF, right? Let's say you're just holding cash. You're never really just holding cash. What that means is that you're allocated to these money market funds that are just like cash, but they give you some semblance of a yield. So you're earning something overnight while you're not allocated to the market.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's
and I would argue like what most people that are invested in Hex and Pulse, etc., what they should probably be doing with their money is investing it back in and betting on more people in the ecosystem and that are building out shit. So not everyone's going to be a builder, But like that's an easy play, like
Yeah.
easy clap, guys. Like just
Yeah.
dump money back into guys that you believe in, guys
I
that
mean,
you see are out there doing it.
imagine you got a whole bunch of mini Richard Harts running around to some degree or another.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah,
Fund those guys. Fund those guys. Like that's like a VC's dream right there. VCs
Literally.
invest in the person,
hmm
the guy who's bringing them the deal, that gets up and does the presentation, the pitch deck. That's who they're actually investing in. The product and like they'll allow you to pivot a million times before they start losing faith. If you can bring them something that makes sense and they can believe in you because you've got
Doesn't
passion,
matter.
you're checking all the boxes. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care what you're trying to sell.
It's so crazy. It's literally true, because
Yeah, man.
it's about being able to execute the idea at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
Because anybody
Yes.
can have knowledge, right?
Or an
And you can-
idea.
or an idea.
Or an
'cause
idea.
These
Come
are
on.
things that are just out there on the internet, right? So
Yeah, those are commodities.
yeah, they're just commodities. So it's about being able to execute. At the end of the day, when somebody, like when you're just a regular Joe and you're just looking for a job and you want to get hired, you can execute. The question is, will you?
Yeah.
Because people don't want to hire people that are not going to execute. They want people
Yeah.
that are going to execute, and it's really that simple. So when you think about that, that just lets you know how the world works. You don't have to know everything, but you have to be able to execute.
Yeah.
That's the
100%.
key. That's the key,
And-
man.
And this is what I want for this little community of bandits that we've got like coming together within the Hex community, and let's call it the Richard Hart products, is that like there's so many potential streams of revenue for you guys out there.
Oh yeah.
So many. It's
Infinite.
ridiculous.
Well,
ridiculous.
Cabana Crypto even stated that there's just 5 alone just in the Hex or in the Richard Hart products, not even including all of the different pools that are going to be super, super profitable, as Randy
Yeah.
Hilarski was talking about.
Yeah, I don't
You
even
got-
know about that. That's
you
what's
got-
funny.
You've got Hex,
Yeah.
you've got eHex, you've got Pulse Chain, you've got where you can stake it as a validator. You got PulseX where you can stake it for XPulseX, the inflation token, and then you've got all the thousands of new pools that are going to be created. And if any of you guys have been early to like Pancake Swap, how many thousands of
Oh,
percent
yeah.
were people making being early? Being
I was
early
early.
liquidity
Yeah.
providers for that?
Talk about that. I don't know anything about that.
I was early in that. Yeah, it's just fucking free money. Like that's the easiest way I can put it. Like when you're one of the very first ones, and then that network explodes. Like imagine now, replace Pancake Swap with PulseX,
hmm
and you've got a ton of it, and you just become a liquidity provider, or you even just farm it. You're talking in the beginning like you're at like 1,800 to 3,000% APY on that. It don't last, but there's
Yeah,
weeks. You end up farming that at weeks worth of value, weeks
Wow.
and weeks and weeks.
Wow, that's a
Right?
lot of fucking APY, bro.
It's a lot, and on a lot of money, it's a lot of money.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's how fun that
I'm about
is.
to be retiring just off of that.
Yes.
Damn.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like there's a lot there. You
And to
guys
think,
like
we can't even provide liquidity for Hedron yet. Not
I
to
know.
that scale.
I know.
And
Just
farm and all
imagine
that.
when that starts to happen.
Yeah, because a lot of us
And-
got a lot of Hedron.
Yes, and Hedron will probably go through similar cycles that you see with Hex. It might even actually be a little bit faster in the beginning, just
Mm.
because people are smarter. Just like I think Pulse
Yeah.
will go faster, Pulse X will go faster.
Well, let's talk about that. People know to just sit there and do nothing now.
Yes,
You're
like
welcome.
it's just basically put all your money back in. It's like
Everybody
I-
done told you.
Yeah.
We even got a song about it.
What's
You
crazy
know?
is that like Richard actually is a genius from the standpoint that you gave him money, you made money, but then he
He
got
gave
you to
it
give
back.
all that money back again and again and again and again and again and again. Fucking
Just to make
genius,
it
dude.
more and more and more and more and
Yes.
more and more.
Yes, that is the business partner of a decade that
Yeah.
you pray for. A business
Anybody
partner
that's
like that.
sacked, and I gotta run the numbers for fucking PulseX. Maybe I'll do that today. Everybody that's sacked for Pulse Chain is already up 25x, 24x from day one.
Yeah,
From the end of the sack phase, actually. Screw day one. From the end of the sack phase.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That's not
we
taking
got. Go ahead.
into account supply, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, okay, we got proof of this in a few different ways. The SAC phase, or the SAC amount, dollar amount, again, we're using dollar amount as a proxy here, was greater in PulseX than it was in Pulse.
Yep.
Now, it wasn't greater in Hedron because that was more like a freebie.
That was a free
But
claim.
look at the price. Yeah, that was a free claim. But look at the price action on Hedron.
Yeah,
That
it's
you usually
right at
don't
new highs
see.
again.
You don't usually see that. So okay,
No.
let's let me actually bring that up really quick. Here's
It's
what I
at new
wanted to
highs
point
right
out.
now.
Yeah, here's what I wanted to point out with that. Let's see.
Oh, no, it wasn't at new highs. My bad. Near new highs though.
All right, and yes, I know I'm
Damn.
Tab King. You'll never beat me on tabs.
Yo, I used to be
Woo!
like that, man. I had
Nobody
to stop.
will beat me on tabs
I used
ever.
to be like that. I had
Okay,
to stop.
so here's what you usually see. Let me get out my little pen tool. Here's what you usually see. You see like this kind of coming up, and then maybe back down, dead, and then it starts to work its way back up, and you see something like this. Look at Coinbase listed coins. Look at FTX when they first list a coin. It's very rare that you actually see this. Very rare.
Straight
And
you.
then to see it, yeah, and then to see it on a decentralized, order book like this, and it's not because a big exchange listed it. That whole notion is dead, by the way. Like, who gives a shit about somebody, major centralized exchange listing your coin? I actually see that as a liability, not a benefit. Not a good thing at all, essentially. But this is very rare to see. Now, again, we might end up right back down here afterwards. I know that they're going through a launch phase right now. I don't care. That doesn't matter. That's irrelevant to this. For it to launch and then do this, only to be trumped within such a short time horizon is like really good. It's really bullish. That's incredible to see. It's very rare. Go back and look at
Here's the deal. I'm either selling this at 100x or I'm holding on to it for 1,000 if it doesn't 100x right away. So that's my play on this one.
Here's what's interesting. So let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about what Rich do. So you look at Three Arrows Capital. Who are some of the biggest players in crypto for like hedge funds, money managers, whatever you want to call them? There's Three Arrows Capital. There's Spartan.
Digital Galaxy Holdings as well.
Yep. There's probably like 10 of them right now. Mm-hmm. And they all kind of do similar playbooks. And the playbook is this: when they get an allocation, it's either moon or it's zero. Now, if you I know a lot of people had to cash out. I know a lot of people were tantalized by oh, this is worth 10,000, 20,000, 50, 100, whatever. But what? It was free. It's no different than getting an allocation, but you didn't have to work with the team like Three Arrows Capital did to get that allocation. You didn't have to provide any value at all to the system. Zero economic energy, essentially. You had to pay a little gas fee. I don't think people are really seeing this for what it is. This is something that I think it actually makes more sense to just ride or die on this motherfucker. And it's either rich as fuck off this or it's zero because you've got nothing in it.
Yeah, there's no risk here. There's no risk here.
I took risk because I think there is none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally bought before it took off.
Yeah, you're telling me.
We go on stream. Yeah.
Right here. You bought right in here.
15, and then I bought again a little bit higher because I realized that thing was just not going to come back. So I said, fuck it. I just blew my whole wad, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, sometimes you got to know when to fill a kill. That's what makes a good trader, a good capital allocator, is understanding market structure, what's actually happening. All the FUD for no reason just really, really made it a simple decision.
That was the sentiment. Was okay, let me start paying attention to this. Mm-hmm. That should make that trade more viable for you when you start to see shit like that. Because that's telling you that people are on the wrong side of this trade.
Hex was literally the same exact thing.
Yes.
Yep. Same exact thing. I mean, I was shocked that it happened within the community. Shocked. Yeah. But it's just human nature, clearly. So when
I mean, just like with Hex, there is no cap on what this could do. There's nothing stopping this from being $1. There's nothing stopping Hex from being $1. Well, maybe gate kept for 2 years might have added to that, but I really do feel like Hex would have been way higher if it wasn't as gate kept and all the
100%.
Yeah, I mean, what is the actual fair market value on Hex? I'd say it's at least $100, because it's such a unique investment vehicle that actually delivers what's on the tin, right?
You really think it's just $100, Jay? Let's think about this for a second.
I mean, I just pulled a number out of my ass. That's an at least. That's a minimum. Let's call that a minimum.
Let's think about this for a second.
Over here. Thanks, Jay. Thanks
hold
for
on,
all
hold
your
on,
bro.
Hold on. I want to put a.
Cancel Jay. Cancel Jay.
No. I want to put a. Because here's the thing. While $100 sounds crazy because we're only at 13 cents. Let's speak about this logically because I love to do this because I think people really underappreciate how valuable Hex is. And this is
Yeah.
the top layer of our financial sovereignty stack.
Mhm.
You know, and this is the creme de la creme of financial products, right? So Hex itself, right, is always going to be 100% rock solid, never going to be what it's not. So anything that evolves around it can only enhance it, right? So that's number one. Number two, what piece of software do you know that runs 100% of the time?
True.
That alone, sir, makes this piece of software alone worth at least $50,000. Not bullshitting you. At least. Why? Because go ask Microsoft Sun Systems or whoever the fuck, Oracle, whoever, to provide you with some licensing, some licensed software, and let me know how much that costs you. You're talking about straight direct ownership of this financial product that all it does is print you money.
Yeah.
And the value is ever increasing. So the risk is literally minimal if your time horizon is long enough. So let's think about what you were just saying about Zero or Moon.
Okay.
What's the option here? There's only one option because the system only allows Moon.
Yeah.
To a person that's astute enough to assess that and pull that from the system's reality, what do you think they're going to do? I mean, they're not going to never not buy because we all know to never not buy. I think that's important, right? I mean, we're talking about nonstop financial software here. Like it just does what it's supposed to do. It never fails. It always operates. You never have downtime.
Mhm.
I mean, I think people really underappreciate the value in just that little
Yeah.
aspect of the system. That alone really makes it worth at least $50,000. Software you cannot find that's fully operational 100% of the time and not cost you.
Yep.
That's
This
true.
shit is this is operational 100% of the time.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
nobody can stop it from running. You're gonna sit here and tell me at least 100? No, sir. Now, when we talk about it like that, it's a whole nother conversation, right?
It is. It is. And then
50,000
when we
seems
start,
feasible.
well, and then we start to talk about the kind of compounding effect
Mm.
as more and more of the early stakes are gone and the big amounts get sold off, and it's harder and harder to get T-shares. Then you really start to realize how nasty this shit can get.
Especially when you got 15-year stakes and all you're doing is watching that payout per T-share increase over time because it's that much harder to grab on the T-shares. I mean, I showed this chart yesterday during the conference that I've probably only shown Kinetics and maybe another person. I never show that chart. That chart is pure alpha because people don't understand that there are no T-shares to go around.
Yeah.
There are none. There used to be millions of them.
Mm-hmm.
Today, not so much. If that hex is not already in the system, that T-share is hard to get.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
when you have to buy that hex, it's going to cost you 13 cents, period.
Yep.
And that T-share is commensurate with that price. So that means that stake is going to cost you that much, period. You see? So all these things are tied together. And this is why
Yeah.
hex is so valuable. You get out of that system, you lose automatically.
Yeah, I think the long-term play is never selling your hex.
Well,
Like that's
thanks
like
to
basic.
Hedron,
And
a lot of
Hedron
us-
made that very possible.
Yeah, thanks
So-
to Hedron, it was going to be possible.
Your hex prints more hex, which
Your
prints
Hedron.
more Hedron, which prints
Mhm.
more Hedron because you can buy more hex and you print more Hedron.
We need to find something to add on to Hedron so we can print more Hedron and print
So-
more new
so it can
things to
be
print that new
10
thing.
layers deep instead of
Yes.
just 7. Yeah.
There's going to be synthetic on top of synthetic.
Never
on top of
selling my
synthetic.
Hedron,
No.
baby. That's the
And then
next
on top
motto.
of this, and then on top of this, so
Yeah,
that's money.
facts.
So money's figured out, right?
Yeah.
Well, now we got energy infrastructure. What?
Mad.
What
Oh,
we're gonna
shit.
be able to beam. We're gonna be able to beam
Beam me
energy
up,
directly
Scotty.
to your vehicle and to your home. Huh. Oh, and not only that, but we're gonna be able to create clean energy that doesn't require us to mine anything out of the ground. Doesn't
I know,
require
dude.
us to have plants that burn fossil fuels and then have to worry about the nonsensical argument about carbon in the air. So we don't have to deal with any of those externalities. So you can clean energy produce and you can beam it directly to the people that are in need of it. And that's not even a fraction of the things they're doing. That's just the one that gets everybody's eyeballs. That's just the one that most people latch onto.
The future is bright,
Yeah.
folks.
Yes,
It's nasty that card has been hooked up together, and that like those two ecosystems have now, like when Pulse launches and that solidifies, like Richard really needs to start spending a lot of time talking to the mad guys.
I 100%
Because
agree.
that thing needs to like just run. They need to be at the front lines running together because there's so much there. It's disgusting. Oh my
That
God,
is
dude.
probably the most important thing going on outside of Hex.
Yeah, is the whole energy grid conversation and what
100%.
that brings
Yep.
to the table is just it's
100%.
undeniable.
Yeah, so it's funny because I love Richard, and he's just not pandering, but he's a smart marketer, so he understands that there's a certain subsect of people that are, oh, global climate change, we're ruining the earth with all the Bitcoin mining. So he's
Yeah.
using that to his advantage, that narrative. But that's exactly what that is. It's just a narrative.
Yeah.
If you guys could see, I have an astrophysicist friend who actually helped set up a pilot program that they've been doing for 3 years at the HARP Institute up in Alaska. He's there. They've got empirical data that proves that this whole climate change is caused because the carbon is a farce. It's nonsense. And they've got the empirical data finally to show it, but they just haven't come out with it yet. This is the wrong administration to come out with that information with.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Holy shit. Dude.
Yeah, you don't want that to come out because it'll get suppressed. It'll literally get suppressed.
100%.
It all started with mapping the ultraviolet. So we've mapped the infrared spectrum of light, but never mapped the ultraviolet. And in the process, we're finding that carbon is bleeding out of our atmosphere into space faster than we're even taking on new mass from like the sun and other things in space. Yeah. Yep. And he did a study a few years ago.
I've never even thought about doing infrared. That's funny.
But if you can just take that externality out of there, say you take that whole argument out of there, that it's used by those who want to sell carbon credits. It's used by those that want to make money and have an extra layer of control over your daily lives. Well, if you take that power away from them, and that's not even a valid argument that they can use anymore, then that's just another step towards freedom. So I love what they're doing.
Yeah, dude, those two getting hooked up together and really running with stuff once Pulse launches, ooh, that's gonna be nasty.
100%.
That needs to happen. Without 100%. A doubt, that needs to happen. Real quick, just wanted to point out a couple technicals in case you're looking at the chart. We're on a 3-day chart here. It came down to my little magical green box, and that was where it reacted. That also coincided with some VPVR ranges, which are over here. I just have to like scroll around to get them to show up again. And of course, we got this big ass divergence, which will eventually play out. Yeah, this will break out, and it'll be nasty, and it'll go higher than it was before. Just takes time, and like, who cares? You're in 15-year stakes, man. Just chill.
Yep. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah, this will play out, but this is looking better and better, man. And this was beautiful because this shook out so many people, man. I saw so many emergency end stakes. Like, what are you thinking, dude? You hit your head.
Dude, that's what I thought. You must have been in a car accident because
must have. You got hacked. Tell everyone you got hacked.
Please tell everyone. Yeah, just come out and say that was my wallet. I got hacked.
I got hacked. Yeah, get some.
Yeah, ask for some donations.
Yes, the community feel bad for you. Like you come back in. Come on. We'll bring you back in.
Ooh, Hedron right near all-time highs again.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. What is this?
I mean,
this is a daily. I like looking at these.
I think the important thing to understand is just the reality that it's that simple, right? Just hold it. You don't got to do anything. Once you start playing games with it and start dumping it and all that.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, even that, like I saw a couple of people trying like, oh yeah, I'm in a game Hedron, and I'm like, bro, I get it. I've been there. I've tried to game some shit. It don't fucking work, man. It usually doesn't work.
Nope.
Usually doesn't work. Not saying you won't have another opportunity. I'm just saying, like, I tried to do that with Hex a couple times when I first was hearing about it, finding out about it, trying to play like quick moves. And I'm just like
typical market stuff. But this is typical market stuff, bro.
It was me. I was yelling in your freaking Discord, dude. Why are you sleeping on Hex, Jay? And we were bros long before.
I know, man. I was so stung. I was so fucking stung from BitConnect and all this bullshit before that. So stung, dude. I was like, I can't look at this shit.
And I know, and I was like, it's not high yield interest platform, bro.
It's not a platform. It's
I was
literally a
stupid.
smart contract.
I was stupid. Yes, I can admit that. I'm all good with admitting that.
Well,
I
yeah,
was
but that's the
way
thing,
late.
bro. You learned, right?
Yeah.
And that's the key. Most people aren't willing to learn, and I think that's the significance in that lesson, in the story, and the moral of that story. You know,
self-awareness.
Yeah,
I wish more people had your self-awareness though, Jay, because Jay's one of those guys. He'll go back like once a month and reflect on how the month went and be like, I could have done this better, man. I nailed it on this. I crushed it on this, man. Where am I really weak? And he'll adjust. And most people aren't that way. So
that's true.
I wish everybody was
the
like
idea of AARs, man. After
Do
action
you?
reports.
Yeah.
I love that idea, man, with the military. And that idea, when I heard about it, I just said, fuck, I'm running with this, and I'm going to start incorporating this in my life in a huge way. That was it.
Yeah, it works, too.
It does, dude. It does. Like, it keeps everyone accountable, dude.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought we were doing. That's what I thought we were here to do, is hold ourselves accountable. Because if you can't hold yourself accountable to yourself, who can you?
No.
Nobody.
You have to let yourself into yourself. You have to be able to look in the mirror and have that tough conversation. So, yeah, thanks for the shout out. I appreciate that. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to a lot of stuff like that. So it's good to hear it from outside source. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely. I love what Grounded and Hex said down here. Amazing how only 21 people here receiving this information. Damn, I feel blessed.
25 now, baby.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Moving on up.
We got them big numbers, baby. I don't really care about show numbers. Like, it'd be amazing if hundreds of thousands of people saw shit like this, because this is the keys to freedom. Like the shit we're talking about, the deep structure of what we're talking about, the thought process that you're getting to see in real time, like all of this is the actual alpha in this. Like the charts don't mean anything. None of this shit matters. It's the thought process that you're seeing live in front of you, the deep structure to what we're talking about. Those are the keys.
And then what you take, when you take this information and process it, what is your next action step? Taking action, guys. That's really, it's a call to action. How do you want to enrich your guys' own lives? So I'm curious real quick, Jay, are we backing this up on Odyssey or Theta or anything like that? I've got us set up with Theta. You can only download like 3 videos a day or something like that, but we should probably start cherry picking the real alpha videos and just start downloading them to some of the I don't know if you have it linked to Odyssey yet, just for redundancy.
I will if I don't. I don't think I do. I don't think I have this channel.
It kind of monetizes. There's no money in it, but at least you'll have a redundancy, so it's backed up somewhere else. You know, the old prepper mindset. I was pretty big in the prepper field for a while there in the industry. Yeah, I know you were. And one of the things that was real to me was when people would talk about when I was training hand to hand, we'd always buy our tools in 2s and 3s. And the reason why is there's the old adage that 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So, because at some point your material goods will break down. Yeah, I like that. That's a good point. It's a really good point. Cool. Well, so it's always good to have the redundancy. Yeah, Grounded in Hex. That's really cool.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks. I don't know, man. How many places are these conversations happening? Not many, and it's a shame. They should be happening in more places to where like everyone's getting brought up on game. Everyone's getting, we're elevating all ships, as they say. This is some important stuff that more people I wish would be hearing.
Yep. I like what Purple's saying there.
What else do we got? Do we want to cover anything else? I think I'm pretty good on this. I really just wanted to, do you guys have any questions for those of you that are still with us? Do you have any questions on this financial stack? Pick it apart. Am I missing something? Is there a future potentiality that I'm missing? Obviously, some really small granular stuff. But
I think the big thing for people to understand is that in order to get rid of middlemen, we have to become the middleman first. There's no other way.
Yeah,
there's no other way.
Yeah, with a lot of these pieces, you have to. Some of them you don't have to, but a lot of them you will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once you're in the game, then you can actually change how the game is played. Yeah.
But we have to get in there. There's no other way, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. And it's kind of funny. You have to test your own bias too, because it's like, okay, is your problem middleman or is your problem the guy that's the middleman? So it's like, if Richard did this, would you be okay with it? If yes,
Right.
then it's your flawed thinking. It's not really
Yeah.
real. Your logic is broken, and you need to just reevaluate. So yeah, like run yourself through that too. It's like, is it based on who's doing this, or is this based on like a true yes is yes, no is no kind of validation system for yourself, right?
Yep, absolutely. Don't lie to yourself, guys. Be honest
Yeah,
with
dude.
yourselves.
Don't do that, because then
We're the
I mean,
only creatures that God created that can lie to itself and believe its own lies.
Yes.
Isn't that funny how
Literally.
that
Yes.
works?
Literally. No other being behaves in that fashion. That's a
Yep.
good point.
Yeah.
So don't fall victim. The heart is deceitful above all else. Make sure you use logical, empirical data to form your discussions and your decisions, and take action, guys. Take action.
Yeah, smash the like, share this out with anybody. Any last minute questions, any last minute, things that you want to poke apart with what I've kind of presented. These are not in order, by the way, on the screen. This was not supposed to, let me go back. This was not supposed to be in order. This was just supposed to be like these
Part of the
top
stack.
three. Yeah, especially. But now that I've put them out like this, I actually would say that they're probably in order.
Yeah, I think that's the right way.
Yeah, I think so too. Because Hex is the best. Like everything should be rolling back into Hex to accumulate more Hex and never selling Hex. And then these two are really just ways that you're going to be able to move value and economic energy around that network. That's the whole point of those two. That's it.
Yep.
And hopefully getting some sweet yield in the process. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait for that
It's
shit.
gonna be sick, bro, when it launches.
It is. It's going to be the first time that I've been like, somebody was just like, oh, hey, here you go. And I'm like, oh thank you. And I'll go yield with that. I'll go yield farm with that.
Yes.
Like, instead of having to like come in with fiat or some other currency and buy a shitload of it and then do it, like somebody's literally just giving me this shit.
Yep.
That'll be a first.
Yes.
Fun.
Yeah, this is
It's
gonna be
gonna be
fun,
fun.
guys. This is gonna be fun. I can't wait
It's
to
gonna
see
be
the
a lot of
mayhem
fun.
that ensues. And here's the
Yes.
thing, guys. If you don't understand the move you're making, don't make it, because your best
Probably
bet,
don't, yeah.
the stuff is probably going to run the heck up. There may be an initial dump, but it's going to go up in the next 2-3 years. This stuff's going to run so fast that if you made the wrong move, you're probably going to have an opportunity cost, a loss cost there. So if you don't understand what you're doing with some of these moves, I don't think you're going to be doing anything wrong by just sitting and hodling and just sitting on your hands, guys. But
Yeah, and start looking at things in terms of higher time horizons, please. Like,
yes,
stop with this shit of like, Hex didn't do this in 30 days or a year or so I'm out. Like, stop it. That is what they're trying. That is the old conditioning creeping its head up on you again, playing games on you, breaking your brain. So just stop it. Everything is a long-term game.
I'll bet everybody
the
thought
rich-
about. There's a lot of people that thought the same thing from 1 cent to $30
Yes.
Bitcoin and missed out on the $69,000 Bitcoin. So,
How many people sold at $10, $30? Because look, don't get me wrong, it was good RR. But
Mhm.
how many people sold? Like, is there anyone on the planet outside of Satoshi's wallet that held from the very beginning? I say no. I would be willing to bet a lot that there is none.
Mount
No.
Gox, because they haven't released those
Yeah.
coins yet.
And I think there's a couple of Genesis wallets left. Actually, one of them just moved. Funny enough, hasn't moved in 11.4 years. Just moved yesterday. So I think there's very few Genesis wallets left that haven't moved. But it's like, yo, dude, like, chill. You got time. There's all kinds of ways that you don't even know about yet that you're gonna be able to make money off this shit. It's being given to you for free. Don't shit on it.
It's crazy, man.
Don't shit on it, dude.
The lack of interest in someone's own financial future is kind of crazy to me.
It
Here
is.
you are being given something that you know nothing about, and you're just gonna dismiss it. Why would you do that?
I love it. Dude, like it's too late to get into Hedron.
Word, yo, I
Too
saw
late, bro.
that. Oh
Too
my
late.
god, is it even 2 weeks old yet?
Oh, I don't even think so.
I don't think
man.
so. I think tomorrow
I think it's like a week.
or
I spent because I didn't
I don't
get
know.
I didn't get maximized on the low gas days. I didn't get a maximized. I'm busy with other things, family, the stuff that we're doing in the background, all these other things that I was busy with. And I probably overpaid for gas has been all righted because I probably paid over $3,000 in gas.
What?
Yeah, in gas
Wow,
fees
how many
for
states did you have, bro? Damn.
300,000.
I must have spent like I it took me a while to claim them all because of course busy like you, but I fucked up and left one transaction pending to the point where I had to like find a way to dig into that MetaMask to reset that damn transaction.
Yep.
Like,
I got all mine quick and cheap gas. I was like, damn, did I really just win?
I
Did
got
I
mine
really just
cheap.
win like
I
that?
ain't gonna lie. I got mine
Yeah.
cheap, man.
Cheap as fuck. Like in
Yeah.
comparison to
Okay.
what it usually is. I got
Shout
mine
out to
real cheap.
Alex. Yeah, I got mine cheap.
You guys gonna have to check this out. I don't know if you guys can see it. This is my new studio right now. He's doing some inlay
Ooh,
on my
nice.
background.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even show that on my own
sick.
channel.
I like that. I like that. Come on, dude. Really? We
Well,
gotta
I
start
just
rolling
got
out-
it. I
We
literally
gotta start
just
rolling
got
out
it.
some build updates on that.
Yeah.
We gotta start rolling out some build updates on that.
Well,
'cause
this is
that's
all
gonna
going to be inlaid with wood, inside wood.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Is it going to be same color as the rest, or like different wood, right? Or stained a different way, or
It's going to
something,
be
right?
stained in a. It's going to be the Japanese shikokurushi, whatever it's called, where they burn it and then you
Okay.
wet it down and then you burn it and then you wet it down and then you
Oh, hell
stain
yeah.
over the top of all of that. So and it's already cedar wood, so it already has those natural oils that prevent against mold and termites and insects. So it's going to be stuff that probably outlasts me. It'll probably be there longer than I'm alive.
Hell yeah.
But yeah,
I
they're
like
starting
that.
to do
That's
that. You can kind of see the different colored planks. So that's going to be in a yellow. So that's going to be in a yellow where the kinetics is.
Yeah.
And you
yeah.
can see the darker red and then the lighter red and then the blue stain on the wall already up there in the corner.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. I
So
see it.
all those planks are going to be a different color.
I like that. I like that. So
Yep.
we're gonna go with dark and light. Beautiful.
Dark
easy.
and light. Yep. Give it some real texture to the wall.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool, man. I can't
Yeah.
wait to see that done. I geek out on studio shit, man. Office tours, desk tours. I don't know why, but I do.
Right? I can't wait, man. I'm excited. The setup that I'm going to be doing with the Highest of Stakes team sent me a whole Amazon list of here's
Oh,
the
nice.
equipment you need to buy, and then they're going to come help me set it all up. So
Hell yeah, dude. I'm excited for that. Okay, I won't keep you guys. Thank you so much.
I know,
for
right?
jumping on.
I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much, Jay, for having us, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks,
yeah,
man. It's a
my
great
pleasure.
conversation as always, bro.
Yeah, I think so. So we'll continue to dissect this on this channel. This whole idea of a sovereignty network, financial stack, whatever you want to call it. Keep trying to pick it apart and improve it. There's a ton of the pieces there, though. I am so insanely excited about the future and what all these people, all these pieces in the ecosystem. I put myself a very small piece of that are trying to build, because like this is a shot. We got a really good shot at doing something really good and making a lot of change that you can actually measure the impact on that. So that I think is exciting, right? I think
Yeah.
that's something to get behind. Yeah.
100%. And I think
All right,
it's
guys.
important.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's important for us to realize that we don't need a lot of people. We just need the right people.
No, we need the right people,
Yeah.
and we need to push hard, and it needs to be people who are like brave, won't falter in the face of
Correct.
adversity and people getting in your face and people trying to stop you from doing what you want to do.
Love it, guys.
All right.
This was fun. Thank you so much, guys. I always
Pleasure.
enjoy coming to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, thanks again, guys. And yeah, look for us next week, Thursday, same time, right after the Wake Up Hex show. We'll be going again. And yeah, look for that link on the channel soon. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.